Now for our lead story tonight. He landed in India last Saturday, and like many other heads of state, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was not received at the airport by his Indian counterpart. He's been traversing the length and breadth of the country with his beautiful family in tow. Today he finally met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and was given a piece of advice. Our next report details the highlights.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a statement after holding talks with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And one statement is all it took to sum up Trudeau's India tour, officially a state visit.
हम अपने सुरक्षा सहयोग को सुदृढ़ करने पर सहमत हुए हैं। आतंकवाद और उग्रवाद भारत और कनाडा जैसे लोकतांत्रिक बहुलवादी समाजों के लिए खतरा है। इन ताकतों का मुकाबला करने के लिए हमारा साथ आना महत्वपूर्ण है।
The meeting came a day after Canadian delegation was embarrassed by the presence of a Khalistani among them. But one-off incidents do not derail bilateral relationships. So the Modi-Trudeau meet lasted about 2 hours, enough to review the entire gamut of bilateral partnership. The Indians and Canadians signed 6 MOUs, and the Indian Prime Minister emphasized that Canada can play a significant role in India's energy requirements.
कनाडा एनर्जी सुपर पावर है और हमारी बढ़ती ऊर्जा जरूरतों को पूरा कर सकता है। आज हमने अपने एनर्जी डायलॉग का विस्तार करने और हमारी ऊर्जा साझेदारी के भविष्य की रूपरेखा तैयार करने का निर्णय किया है।
Strategic discussions were also held. India and Canada emphasizing on democracy and the need to combat terror.
अफगानिस्तान की स्थिति पर विस्तार से चर्चा हुई। अफगानिस्तान की सरकार और वहां की जनता को सीमा पार आतंकवाद की चुनौतियों से निपटने और एक शांतिपूर्ण, सुरक्षित, समृद्ध और लोकतांत्रिक अफगानिस्तान के निर्माण में उनके प्रयासों में सहयोग करने की आवश्यकता स्पष्ट है।
Investment, trade and more importantly, people-to-people contact were the other key points of discussion.
We discussed deepening and strengthening people-to-people ties. Canada is home to more than 1.3 million people of Indian descent. India and Canada are united not only by their common ambition to create more opportunities for people to get ahead, but by a shared set of values. Values like respect for the democratic tradition, pluralism, and diversity.
Justin Trudeau also met the Indian Foreign Minister on the last leg of his tour. Earlier in the day, he was given a red carpet welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. All the criticism aside, the Prime Minister of Canada has probably done more than any ambassador could in promoting India as a tourist destination, even as many Indians strive to settle in Canada given the hurdles in acquiring a green card. Bureau Report, WION.
So what do India-Canada relations look like? Let's begin with trade. It's one of the most important pillars of foreign affairs, and let's understand the trade ties between these two countries. Since India's independence, both India and Canada have enjoyed a close relationship economically, and this is despite Canada being a NATO member while India chose non-alignment. Canada remained an important partner during the 50s and the 60s. It continued to extend economic assistance to India in 1951 through the Canadian International Development Agency, and India was at one time the largest recipient of aid from Canada. But ties between the two nations witnessed turbulence when India's nuclear test in 1974 annoyed Canada. India's historic 1991 reforms, though, turned the bitterness into bonhomie when it opened its economy to the world, and Canada realized that it should expand its economic presence in India rather than America or other South Asian countries. And since then, there's been no looking back, but experts believe that both countries have not achieved their true potential. In 2016, two-way merchandise trade between Canada and India totaled $8 billion. India exports gems, jewelry, pharmaceuticals, textiles, organic chemicals, etc. to Canada and imports pulses, potash, iron scrap, copper, minerals, industrial chemicals, you name it, all of that coming from Canada to India. Justin Trudeau's Bhangra moves and sartorial choices reflect upon the strong influence that Indian culture has in Canada. Let's understand how the two countries are tied culturally. Canada is home to a large Indian diaspora. Approximately 3.6% of Canada's population is of Indian origin. Canada is the second most popular destination for Indian students going abroad for higher education, with 124,000 Indians holding valid Canadian study permits. These are the numbers as of 2017. Canadian universities and colleges are also very active in India, and there are currently more than 400 agreements between institutions on both sides in both the countries. India is Canada's 10th largest source of tourists and international visitors, with 224,000 visits made from India to Canada in 2016. The two democracies enjoy a close relationship that is based on pluralism and diversity, as the Prime Minister of Canada also put